Story 2. Sarah had been a sanitation worker for several years, navigating the streets of a small, crime-ridden town. She knew the trash bins were more than just containers of waste. They were often repositories of secrets. On her route, the area she called home was notorious for meth labs, illegal drug activity, and occasional robberies. One afternoon, the police requested her help. "If you see anything suspicious, containers, chemicals, weapons, reported immediately," they told her. It was unusual, she admitted, but she knew law enforcement relied on sanitation workers as eyes on the streets. Her team became accustomed to finding oddities: broken electronics, stolen cash registers, and chemicals hidden in plain sight. But one day, the stakes escalated. While checking a particularly notorious alley, Sarah noticed a black plastic bag that seemed out of place. Curiosity gnawed at her, but caution prevailed. As she opened it carefully, she recoiled. Inside were human body parts, limbs, oddly placed, suggesting deliberate dismemberment. Police were notified immediately. Sarah and her co-workers were tasked with combing through dozens of trash bins across town to locate the rest of the remains. The perpetrator had spread body parts strategically, almost like a grotesque puzzle. It was a chilling lesson that garbage could conceal horrors beyond imagination, crimes that might otherwise go unnoticed, hidden in plain sight. Chapter 4. Georgie's Nightmare Discovery. Georgie P., a sanitation worker in North Carolina, often admitted on Reddit that he and his co-workers sometimes peeked into trash out of curiosity. Most days, it was harmless old receipts, broken toys, household clutter. But one winter morning, Georgie's casual curiosity turned into a nightmare. At a corner house in Winterville, he spotted a half-sealed white plastic bag. Through the top opening, a photograph of a young girl caught his eye. Hesitation flashed in his mind, but he opened the bag fully and was confronted with hundreds of images. Some school portraits, most others sinister and invasive. Many of the pictures were taken without consent, some through windows, some while the girl was in her bedroom. As Georgie sifted through the bag, his stomach churned. The final image pushed him to the brink. A photo of the girl asleep, taken from directly above her bed. He called the authorities immediately. The homeowner was arrested the same day for child exploitation, child pornography, and stalking. Georgie's horror was compounded by the realization even trash could harbor the vilest of human acts. Something as simple as a garbage bag could expose unimaginable depravity. Chapter 5. Hugo and the Laptop of Horrors. Hugo had been a garbage man in Manchester for over a decade. He thought he had seen everything, but one bright morning changed his perception forever. While emptying a household bin, Hugo noticed a Lenovo laptop on top of the trash. It appeared in pristine condition aside from minor grease and crumbs. Curious, he glanced at the house. A man stood partially behind the curtain, watching him. Something about the gaze made Hugo uneasy. He pretended to dump the laptop along with the trash, but kept it on the back platform of the truck instead. Later, when the man approached and asked if Hugo had taken the laptop, Hugo lied, insisting he hadn't. Relief washed over him when he drove away, but curiosity gnawed at him. When he finally powered on the laptop, he found hundreds of disturbing files. Folders labeled vaguely Powder, V288. Fruit Patch contained videos and images of underage pornography. Hugo's hands shook as he realized the magnitude of what he had found. He contacted the authorities, providing the evidence before disposing of the device responsibly. Hugo reflected later. In his years of working in sanitation, he had encountered bizarre and grotesque things, but nothing as dark as this. A single item thrown in the trash could hide unimaginable evil, waiting for someone to uncover it. Story 3. Hugo had learned to expect the unexpected on the streets of Manchester. The trash trucks were more than vehicles. They were moving time capsules, carrying the hidden lives of strangers. Every bag held a story, some mundane, some grotesque. Over 11 years he had seen almost everything: decomposing food, broken furniture, old toys, and even occasional weapons. Yet even seasoned workers like him could be blindsided. That day began like any other. The sun glimmered over quiet streets, birds chirped, and the truck's metallic groan signaled the start of their route. Hugo hopped off the back, dumping a pile of trash into the truck when something caught his eye, a bag that seemed unusually heavy. Inside, he found nothing human, thankfully, but the sheer weight and the strange odor made him uneasy. A familiar sense of dread washed over him. He realized the streets themselves were alive with secrets. The trash was a map of human fears, desires, and crimes, all hidden under layers of plastic and paper. Chapter 7. The Evidence in the Streets. Sarah and her team had learned that police sometimes relied on them to locate crime evidence. Trash bins became extensions of criminal investigations. Weapons, cash registers, chemical containers, anything could surface if someone had discarded it hastily. On one particular day, Sarah found herself on a street known for meth activity. While rummaging through a bin, she discovered a bag with a human leg inside. Heart pounding, she called her co-workers, and together they began a grim search. Multiple body parts had been dumped throughout the neighborhood, scattered like grotesque breadcrumbs. The police used the sanitation workers' discoveries to reconstruct the crime. Trash, something society considered disposable and meaningless, became the key to solving a brutal murder. Sarah's heart sank at the thought. How often did human atrocities go unnoticed, simply because they were hidden in garbage? Chapter 8. Georgie's Vigilance. Georgie, in North Carolina, reflected on the curious nature of garbage collectors. The public assumed sanitation work was mechanical, straightforward, and mundane. But Georgie knew better. Every day, the streets revealed secrets, and the trash could hold dark confessions of the human psyche. The bag of images he found haunted him for weeks. Even after reporting the crime, Georgie couldn't erase the feeling that every discarded item might hide something sinister. A torn photo, a bag of old toys, a broken electronic device, all could tell stories that the owners hoped would remain unseen. Sanitation workers, often overlooked, were witnesses to humanity at its worst. They navigated a shadow world, where the line between everyday waste and criminal evidence blurred. Chapter 9. The Laptop's Truth. Hugo's discovery of the laptop remained the darkest incident of his career. Sitting alone in his home, he replayed the moment he opened the folders. He remembered the visceral reaction, stomach churning, hands shaking, heart racing as he realized the content. He had reported the evidence to authorities, but the psychological impact lingered. He couldn't unsee what he saw, couldn't undo the fact that someone had attempted to hide such horrific content in plain sight. In the days that followed, Hugo reflected on the paradox of his profession. People discarded their trash, believing their secrets would vanish. But sanitation workers like him bore witness to these hidden realities, often becoming unintentional investigators of crimes, dark desires, and human depravity. Chapter 10. Reflections on the Job. For Ricky, Al, Sarah, Georgie, and Hugo, sanitation work was far more than a simple occupation. It was a window into the human condition. Every street, every bag, every forgotten item could tell a story. Some days, the horrors were tangible body parts, drug labs, illegal weapons. Other times, they were subtle photographs, personal letters, discarded electronics revealing secrets. The trash became a mirror reflecting society's darkest corners. Yet, despite the constant exposure to danger, disgust, and fear, these workers persevered. Their job demanded resilience, vigilance, and courage. While society rarely acknowledged them, sanitation workers were the silent observers of humanity's most disturbing truths. And, as the trucks rolled on each day, the streets whispered their secrets, waiting for the next worker brave enough to bear witness.